All right guys, we're back. We're in Victoria doing some more Sherco testing, and today we have the Sherco 300 SEF Factory with us. This is the upspec 300cc 4-stroke, not to be confused with the 300 SE, that is the 2-stroke. And yeah, this has pretty much been Sherco's highest selling 4-stroke for some time now, and for good reason. The mid-capacity 4-stroke range for trail riders and for racers is pretty popular. This bike has won championships overseas in a class where it's up against bikes with 150cc more. So clearly they're doing something right with it, and we're going to test this 2026 model to see what they are doing right about it. With me today I have Jeff Briggs. Briggsy was down with me testing a whole bunch of the Shercos with us recently, so he's pretty familiar with the brand. He was part of our 450 enduro shootout where the Sherco won. And so Briggsy, like the 300 SEF 4-stroke, what are you looking for? You get a lot of people ask you a lot about this bike. It's probably one of our most asked about bikes. What do they want to know that you're going to test today?
Well, we don't really get to ride a lot of mid capacities, so that's the biggest thing for me. It's either a 450 or a 250. That class in between is the one that seems to be the most popular with the Euros, especially the KTMs. So it's good to compare something of that same caliber to the KTM 350 in another little package. So I'll be keen to see how this one goes. The motor especially, see how nice and torquey it is and smooth, and then obviously with the KYB stuff it's going to handle well, but just the motor, I really want to see how it goes and turns. That lighter capacity seems to turn a lot better, and good in the bush. It'd be good to see how it really goes.
Sherco have prided themselves on handling. I think ever since they brought this bike into the market 10 or so years ago, handling has been the number one thing. When we tested the earlier models, they felt like mountain bikes is what we'd always say, but with an engine. So I guess handling is going to be the thing we're going to focus on a lot today, and yeah, seeing what it's like to nick through the trees, a lot of single track where we're testing. So stay tuned, we're going to do a bunch of that and come back to you and let you know what we thought. And now that's a wrap on the testing for the Sherco 300, the 2026 Sherco 300 SEF Factory. We've ridden a few of the Shercos today, and personally, this is probably my favourite of the 4-strokes. I like the motor most in this bike, but also probably the way it handles with that motor. Reason being is that it feels like well, how do I describe it? Like a really revvy, fast, racy 250F, but not like motocross, like responsive, like, you know, aggressive. Just, yeah, that mid-range and the top, kind of just hold it in there and ride it like you've stolen it is the kind of motor that this Sherco 300 suits. And so I usually like lugging bikes, but I actually liked revving this bike and trying to pretend I can go fast and race. So this is probably my favorite. The other thing I thought, because I like the motor, I did like the motor on the bigger bikes, but I do love the fact that you can really rev this bike, and I left it in the race map the whole time. But probably the biggest difference for me for this bike compared to the other one was the suspension. This felt softer, more compliant, more trail-like than the other bikes felt firmer. Did you find the same or something different?
I found it pretty similar, but I think it's just the lack of inertia. It doesn't want to dip in the front as much, just being a smaller capacity, and it seems to get into the corners a bit easier. So you could really push it in the corners a lot more than, say, the 450 and the 500. It's hard. I think the motor's really strong, and I like it. You've got to kind of motocross it in the bush a little bit. So I'm torn between the 500 of the lugginess, but then this is just a ball of fun. So.
Yeah. And you definitely notice a difference in power between the 450 to this. Like, I'm amazed that this bike has had as much success as it's had at World Enduro levels, simply because it's got 150cc less. So you just assume it's going to be down on competitiveness because of the power. And it is noticeable when we hopped off the Sherco 450 and onto this, you notice it's got far less power. But like you said, obviously the fact that it feels so nimble, this bike feels so light and nimble, we've said it before, it feels like a mountain bike with a motor in it. It just makes it easier to carry faster speed into corners, on mid corner, exit a corner. Let's talk about that motor, race mode, just the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But, to be honest, like if you were to put a stopwatch on this and the 500, I would definitely be quicker on this.
Yeah.
It's just something about that 500 was really enjoyable today. But
Yeah.
I really enjoy the revingness of this too. Like
Yeah.
you feel like you are Deegan just holding it wedged through the bush. But yeah,
It's a bit electric like that. That real
is.
like yeah, kind of a wild up wind on throttle. Let's talk suspension. Like I said, this felt a bit more trail friendly than the bigger bikes. What would you do suspension wise? Your weight and speed. If you
I'd
bought
probably
this.
just spring it up
Yep.
a bit. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah.
The
Valving-
valving feels really nice.
It's spot on, eh?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
felt really good. It absorbed so much of the little stuff. The valving did a really good job at making it feel compliant.
Yeah.
There weren't really any big erosion mounds to seat today to see if it was going to bottom out on a big hit. And for me personally, if I was trail running this thing, I wouldn't touch the suspension. I think it was pretty compliant and pretty soft. KYB, so there's plenty of adjustability in it. Everything else, ergonomics, seat, grips.
Yeah, it's very similar to the 500. Very comfortable. Brakes are great. Bremos. Everything's very similar to the other Shercos. They do that really well. That they find a nice fit and then carry it to all their bikes. It's one of them things, right? Like this could be. I can see why it's won world titles. I really can. Like I can see that mid capacity would suit Europe really well, and it suits Australia really well, especially in like the vets class and the older guys like me. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I think they're a really underrated bike. I really enjoyed today riding it.
You talked about them carrying across the ergonomics across each model too. I liked the seat on these bikes feels quite flat. A while back, Sherco had a little bit of a scalloped out seat. Matt Phillips, when he was winning world titles, kind of set them in a direction for someone who was tall that I couldn't adjust that well to. I like where you sit on this bike too. I feel like it naturally wants to sit you forward, which is good for your technique. Standing position, if you're standing up and single tracking all day, it was comfortable. The bend of the bars wasn't odd. You weren't bending over for it. Didn't feel like they were high bend hanger bars. So very neutral, easy to get used to, and very easy to ride. That's probably the best way I can explain this bike. It's so easy to ride. Okay, last question, like we always ask, who's it for? Who's buying this bike?
Everyone. Yeah, everyone. I think. Yeah, it's just a fun all-round bike, but then it would cater to a lot of racers too that really want to be able to push that next level in the bush and have that bike that can get in and out of corners really quick and not override it, because you can't with the motor. It's a bit easier just to pull up, to get into the corners, get out, and just have fun.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think it's, in terms of skill level, I think anyone could ride this bike. You can put it in the soft map and maybe just make sure you don't kind of get off the throttle too much, and a beginner could ride the bike. But then a racer, like we said, would have lots of fun in the race map, absolutely just wringing the neck on it. But I do feel like it's probably best suited to single track. It's like a knife. You can friggin' put this thing anywhere you want it, in the tightest little spots between trees. I think guys who are out west that are in stuff that's always four-wheel drive or at least ATV width apart, and it's sandier and there's lots of long rollers and whoops, the bigger bikes will do it better than this, and this might feel like you need more power and a lot of sand sapping kind of stuff. So those guys who do a lot of single track riding, who do a lot of stuff that's just like fast through the single track third gear, I think that's the bike. This is the bike for you. Anyway, that's a wrap with us, guys. We're going to do a whole bunch of more testing on some different Sherco models in the next couple of months, so stay tuned as we get through a few more of the French machines.